It has been a little while since I've made a video strictly about actual frugal living tips. If you aren't familiar with frugal living, it's about doing things with your money in the most responsible way, thinking of things outside the box, asking yourself, what do you value? How do you want to spend your money in the best way possible? So for the year of 2025, I wanted to put together 25 practical, tangible things, frugal living tips for you that you can take into the new year. Now, keep in mind that not everything on this list might work for you in the particular season of life that you are in. Just pass that by. I recommend writing down the items that you want to think about. However, I think also hearing things that may not be for you in this stage of life isn't a bad idea. Somebody may come to you and ask you for some advice, and it might be work for them in their stage of life. Or in 5-6 years, maybe in just 1 year, something might actually come up from this video that you didn't think was for you, and you remember it, and now it does apply to you in that part of your life. Either way, I'm excited to go over these awesome tips today. If you find that you enjoyed this video, make sure you click on that thumbs up button for me down below. Also subscribe so you can see other videos from me in the future. You can leave a comment too. I want to know, what is something practical, something frugal that you do that you would recommend to others? The community here loves to read comments, interact with each other in the comments down below, so leave that for us to check out. Number 1, when you are using your stove, use a lid on your pots and pans. When you put a lid on water, it boils faster. When you put a lid on food that you are cooking, it cooks faster. It keeps the heat, the actual heat that you are buying, that you are using with your electricity, inside the pot. You're going to save money on that electricity bill, and your things are going to get done quicker. Number 2 is to use more beans and lentils in your meals, even if you're using them just as fillers, meaning you've got meat and you're adding them to it to make bigger portions of that, to stretch that meat further. We use them all the time. We make black bean burgers, black bean quesadillas, chickpea crab cakes, lentil meatballs, kidney bean meatballs. You can go on Pinterest and find all these recipes. That's where I find all of mine. So just go on there and look up kidney bean meatballs. You're going to find some great recipes that you can use these really inexpensive pantry staples to stretch that grocery budget further. Number 3 is to hang on to your receipts. Use an empty tissue box. Stuff your receipts in that. Clean them out every 90 days. You may not think right away that you want to return something, but in 2 weeks, 1 month, in 60 days, you might decide that you don't want this thing, or this thing might not be working right, or this thing may not have lasted long at all. It's worth taking the time to take it back, so keep your receipts in a place just in case this comes up. Number 4 is to look at purchases in the long term, especially more expensive purchases. If you're looking at buying a new car, a new coat, a new couch, think about what you're buying and how it's going to be in the long term. What's going to give you the best value for your dollar? What will last the longest? What will remain in style? This is cost per use. You're going to get the most value for the dollar for each dollar that you are spending if you look at it in the long term. Number 5, this is a great time of the year to do this, is when you're decluttering your home. A great idea to declutter is just for the purpose of stacking cash quickly. You may be one of those people that uses your garage for storage. You may be one of those people that has a storage unit. They're all over the place. And you're paying to keep things that you're never going to use again, you're not interested in. Why not go ahead and get rid of them? Especially if it's something that you know people are going to buy or like to buy used, like fitness equipment, sports equipment, baby accessories, even furniture. Things like this are going to get you money quickly, money that you can put into paying off your debt or putting towards your vacation or building an emergency fund. Number 6 is to use envelopes from your junk mail or from your bills as lists as places to write down your notes. I actually recently put this in a video where I talked about items that you could repurpose. I will link that down below for you to check out. And another viewer said they do this. They take an envelope and they write down their grocery list. They also put their coupons in it and their cash in it. So if you're using cash, put everything you need right in this little envelope that you otherwise would have thrown away that has your list, your coupons, and your cash, and you're ready to go. Number 7 is to plan your oven use. If you're turning on the oven, make maximum efficiency of that time. Plan a couple of things that you have to use the oven for that will both fit in there and are on similar temperatures. If you're cooking something small, let's say you're putting a couple of biscuits or something super small leftovers that you want to heat up, utilize a toaster oven or your air fryer for those things. Plan your oven use for maximum efficiency. Number 8 is to maintain your expensive things. You have to make it a priority to maintain things that are working hard for you that you usually don't think about. Things like your car, doing the regular services on that. Maintaining your HVAC system or your home, replacing the caulking around your windows or within your tub and shower. Things that can break down over time and cost more in the long run. I told you the story about someone I knew more recently who had a check engine light on their car for 4 months. They decided to wait until the thing completely died to actually bother with it. By the time they'd done that, the repair on the car was as much as the car was worth. And what they found out was if they had serviced the car when the check engine light had come on, it would have been significantly lower in cost. Number 9, if you are carrying a credit card balance, meaning you have ongoing credit card debt, not that you're the person that uses your credit card and pays it off monthly, but you have ongoing credit card debt, you're not able to pay it off monthly, I would suggest going to cash only, which also means debit card use. You want to freeze those cards. Statistics show that people spend a considerable amount more when they use a credit card because it doesn't feel like their money right now. It feels like they're borrowing. And we know that people borrow more than they would spend up front. So if you are really having trouble overspending and paying off those credit card balances, this is a way to do it, is to actually remove those credit cards from being able to be used, to quit that and get that debt taken care of. Number 10, if it's a new year, maybe there are plenty of people that still have cable television. I don't know how. Maybe just cancel it. Watching less TV in general. If we've learned anything, if there's just a bunch of nonsense on television and it's not helping us grow. Doing something else, more productive, where we're learning, where we're getting out, where we're doing things that are better for us in the long run. Cable television, super expensive, eventually will go away. If we can get rid of it sooner, I'm not opposed to it. Number 11 is for those of you who like to sew or are interested in learning how to sew, and it is to use sheets to make things. I want to tell you a story about my frugal mother, who actually is a fantastic sewer. And a frugal way to redo my room as a kid was for her to make me a new set of curtains and pillows for my bed and a quilt that all matched. Well, the most efficient way to do that, she knew, was not to go to the fabric store because fabric per yard is fairly expensive. She went to what was called our discount bedding store. And we went through and they sold separately flat sheets and fitted sheets. Utilizing sheets for your fabric was a great alternative that looked beautiful. Now, we didn't go for the fitted sheets because that was more of a pain to use because it's got the elastic. So we would spend, I don't know how much amount of time searching through the entire bin of looking for that flat sheet in that particular pattern that we were using, finding all the ones that were the flat sheet. But how great is that? It's an idea to utilize sheets, maybe that you already have, maybe that are in pretty good condition, but you don't utilize, or you don't have that size of a bed any longer. Utilizing those to make things. Number 12 is to create a frugal pantry, keeping things on hand such as beans and rice, bouillon cubes. I always have a hard time with that word. Bouillon cubes that can make a quick broth. They don't take up a lot of space and they can make a super quick broth when put into hot water. All the things that you need to make an easy cheap meal from your pantry, adding those things in with some of the leftover fresh things that you have in your fridge that are getting ready to go bad. It's a great way to save money in the long term is to create that frugal pantry where you have those things on hand. Number 13 is to utilize task lighting. This is a big thing for me, and I've even had some people make funny comments about it. In my office in particular, I cannot stand fluorescent lights. I turn the light off. It's an automatic thing that comes on when you step in. I turn it off. I have 2 lamps that I use depending upon how dark it is outside. If I need 2, otherwise I just use 1. I do not like fluorescent lights. I don't even like in my own house utilizing the lights that are in the ceiling because it's just too extreme for my eyes. Not to mention, it actually saves me money because I'm using less power, electricity. I mean, think about a long time ago, they didn't have all of these overhead lights where everything was lit up like a big bright star. They use task lighting, so maybe consider that the next time you are in a room and there's a little too much light, reducing it to just a lamp. Number 14 is to reduce your use of disposable items. Maybe use paper plates or paper napkins or plastic cups. Utilizing your regular plates, your regular cups, putting them in the dishwasher, utilizing cloth napkins, getting a set of those in place of paper napkins, going from using plastic containers for your leftovers to glass containers. I can tell you when we use plastic containers, we had to replace those every 2-3 years. They would just break down. Not to mention, I'm sure somebody will add all the issues that are now coming to light about plastic and heating it up and eating whatever's in it with that getting into your food, etc. The thing about glass containers is they last. We've had some Pyrex, P-Y-R-E-X brand glass containers that we got when we were married 14 years ago, and they are still working. They still look great. There are no stains on them. The lids are even perfectly fine. It lasts a long time. Number 15 is to turn your bottles and your jars and everything upside down. I remember my first job was at a restaurant and I learned the term marrying. What we had to do was we had glass ketchup bottles. So if one ketchup bottle had about this much left in it and another ketchup bottle had about this much left in it, we would marry the ketchup bottles, not wasting one single drop. Number 16 is learning how to store foods for maximum longevity. You're paying premium at the grocery store these days. How can we make these foods last the longest? Understanding how they could go to waste. For instance, if you've got canned goods, let's say you've got an extra amount of canned goods, do not put them on a concrete floor. What will happen is they will rust from the bottom and they will obviously be bad at that point. Not putting fruits and vegetables in the same drawer because they can cause each other to ripen more quickly than they need to. I recently did a video all about ways to reduce food waste and to maximize the longevity of your food. I will link that down below as well. Check that video out. Number 17 is to wear an apron. I don't know about you, but if you're cleaning or cooking, wearing an apron is a great idea. I am a stain magnet, and clothes are expensive, especially if you're going for those ones where you've got longevity, where you're buying a little bit more quality so that they can last a longer amount of time. But some clothes don't take stains well, and the best stain remover you have may not take out that stain from that grease that popped up while you were cooking something and getting it out that you didn't even notice, ran through the washing machine, and now the stain is set in. But if you had an apron, spend a little bit of money, super inexpensive, go on Amazon, go to your local store, pick one up, you're going to save money on clothing in the long run. Number 18 is to adapt yourself to the temperature rather than adapt the temperature to yourself. Meaning, don't go through and knock up the temperature on the thermostat or knock down the thermostat temperature, depending upon how you're feeling at the moment. If it's warm outside, raise a window, turn on a fan. If it's cold inside, basically put on more clothing, put on a blanket. Number 19 is to use your dryer less. Utilize a clothesline. You don't even have to have one outdoors. For instance, you might not have the ability to put one outdoors or might not have an outdoors. You can easily find so many contraptions that fold out into 6 different ways that you can fold up into this little bitty thing that you can put next to the washing machine on Amazon or out. There are so many wonderful things people have created so that people can have the ability to line dry things so much more easily inside their home. You can even get the ones that are that you can put in the shower between one side where you have it snapped in over here and it's retractable and you can plug it up over here and utilize a clothesline within your shower and then undo it and it's gone. There are so many ways that you can utilize a clothesline and reduce the use of a dryer at home. Number 20 is to learn how to sew and repair those clothes when you get holes in things. Or for instance, I recently had to work on something. I had this wool coat that I don't like dry clean clothing. I do not take clothes to the dry cleaners. I refuse. It's been years and years. However, this coat in particular, I cannot clean myself. And it's about 10 years old and it was starting to look a little dingy on the bottom where you sit on things and who knows what got on it. So I had to take it to the dry cleaner. But what I did before I did that is I made sure the buttons were attached because there were some buttons that were loose. And I've lost a button years and years ago at a dry cleaner. I refuse to do that again. So I basically go on with that button, take a needle and thread and strengthen that button so that it stays on. Number 21, it's a great time to do this. Go through your subscription charges. Really be honest with yourselves. I give this tip several times because we are such a subscription-based society now, and people think that they need to have 2-3 TV subscriptions at one time, or two different subscriptions for their music, or this or that and the other. And because those costs are so insignificant, meaning they're really small, they kind of just, you don't think about them. You don't see them over in your, when you look at your credit card balance or your debit card balance, your bank balance. You don't imagine them. You don't add them up together. I think it's a great time to go through and really be honest with yourself about what you still need and what you can get rid of. Number 22 is getting real frugal. This is a great tip though if you've got plants that you're watering, herbs, etc. You know, when you're turning on the shower and you're not in the mood for a cold plunge type shower, especially during the winter time, you're waiting for the warm water to come out. Put a little bucket in the shower to catch that water that would otherwise just go right down the drain with the money that it cost. Use that water to water the things in your home, in your garden, wherever. Number 23 is to use less laundry detergent than is told to you to use on the bottle. I never ever use the recommended amount. I use a very small amount. Now, perhaps you work out, your fitness level is on 10 and you sweat like nobody's business. Or you work in a restaurant, that smell just permeates in your clothing. Or you're out in construction. Hey, I get it. You might need to actually use the recommended amount to get that stuff clean. But if not, try this out on your clothes. Use less. Understand that also using less actually helps with the longevity of your clothing. Number 24 is to buy Christmas gifts all year long. This can actually be anniversary gifts, birthday gifts, any kind of gifts. All year long, when you see great prices, stack these things up. I know some people wait to the very last minute to get things and they might not get the best deals or the best thing that that person wanted. I like to think about these things all year long. That way I can stock up on the best items, the best price. Number 25 is to eat before you go shopping. I can tell when my husband goes to Costco if he was hungry when he got there. Because when you are hangry, you will do many things, like get things that you don't need that were not on the list. I hope that you enjoyed this list of 25 frugal things that you can do to live below your means and save more money. Don't forget to let me know what your favorite frugal tip is down below, or maybe which one of these you want to add into the 2025 year where we're going to save the most money. I'm excited for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click on the like button, also subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next week.